Hello and welcome back to the TVBinges.com Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I am joined as always by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's an out-of-control cop with a death wish. It's Olivia Richards! Hello!
Hey, it's exactly what I'm doing right now.
This is high-risk podcasting.
Exactly, I wasn't sure if you could hear the sirens and stuff in the background.
You're speeding down the freeway, leading the cops on an interstate chase.
Yep.
as we're recording this podcast. About the newest Fox drama, kind of comedy, mostly drama, of the season. It is a name that you know, but a show that you don't. It's called Lethal Weapon. Olivia, what did you think?
Oh my god. I mean, I've never actually seen the original movies.
Oh, Olivia.
I know, you can judge me. I'm judging myself a little bit. So, I don't know, I guess this show was developed for people who were fans of the original movie, but I am not one, so
Oh, so sorry, I need to stop you there. I'm gonna go with no on that. I'm gonna go with a big no on whether fans of the Lethal Weapon are gonna like this show.
No, well, actually, I talked to my friend, and she was a big fan of the original movies, and she loved the show.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not, I
know. Look, more power to your friend for finding happiness in a dire place. It's not that
they found love in a hopeless place.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't terrible. I mean, it's, it is what it is. I'm not like some Lethal Weapon, genius or anything. Like, I saw the movie many, many years ago. I probably can't tell you that much about it, but it's just like this is what we've seen a dozen times in the last year, where a sort of classic 90s action movie is translated to a sort of middling action procedural television show. And I just don't know why anyone would watch, is my thing.
No, it's exactly it. And I mean, like, Lethal Weapon came out in, 1987? And the fact that it's being updated, not even updated, it's just being brought back in 2016. This is something that we've seen hundreds of times before through any, buddy cop film, through any, crime procedural that's, been on TV through, like, the last 20 years. It's just, there's nothing new or fresh here. It's just the retelling of the story that we've already been told 1,000 times before.
To be completely honest, I think the main problem with this show is that it's called Lethal Weapon. I think there's this mistaken belief in television right now that you have to capitalize on these brands. But, like, Lethal Weapon is a brand that doesn't really carry any cachet in 2016. Like, it's not like people are going to flock to watch this show because it's called Lethal Weapon. It's a movie that came out more than 20 years ago. If they had just called this show something generic and actiony, and it was the exact same show, and it was, obviously inspired by Lethal Weapon, but not Lethal Weapon, I think people would... At least I know, I think I would perceive it a little more positively. Because it wouldn't be, like, so just clear that they're recreating an existing property. And maybe that's just how I think, and maybe this is because I hate comic books and this line of thinking pervades comic books. But there's no, like, Lethal Weapon extended universe, Like, you're not tapping into this larger world that existed that the movie only gave us a small glimpse into. That's not what this is. This is just taking the premise of the movie, taking the sort of character archetypes of the movie, and putting them into a show that they can air 20 episodes a season of. It's like, that's not giving me anything. Like, the fact that it's named after that connection is so apparent, and they're so transparent about how this is just derivative of the movie, really, like, turns me off to this kind of show.
No, I definitely agree with that. And at the end of the day, I just think it comes off as lazy. Like, they were sitting pitching a bunch of different ideas in, a boardroom, and this is the best thing that came out of it. And I have a really hard time believing that, and a really easy time kind of simultaneously.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it so much that now it's, like, not even a surprise, but I mean, if you separate it from Lethal Weapon, if you just pretend that the show is not called Lethal Weapon and that it's just a show that exists, on its own merits exclusively, there is it is a purely original product. Like, what do you think about, like, just sort of the mechanics of how the show got through this story of the first episode?
I mean, I thought it was okay. To be honest, I thought that there was an interesting dynamic between the two leads, which is straight out of Lethal Weapon. Mm. But yeah, if you had packaged it differently, it could have been interesting. But, playing off of something that has already been in existence for 30-some years.
Yeah, I mean, so you have Riggs and Murtaugh here, but not played, obviously, by the original actors. It's Damon Wayans, right? Isn't he involved? He's the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't 100% on which Wayans we're talking about. But they definitely transfer the sort of character relationships of the very straight-laced, sort of too old for this detective with the not young, but the sort of detective with a death wish who's very very reckless, but also, like, sort of affable, and I don't know, it's like, what did you think of, like, the bank robbery that like did you? I guess what I'm trying to ask is did you buy it? Like, this is kind of a ridiculous show, like, he walks into a bank robbery carrying pizzas and then, like, steals the guy's gun and shoots all the bank robbers in a second. Like, it's even for a procedural, it's ridiculous. Like, did you like that sort of heightened sense of reality in this, that we are definitely, like, operating in the world that action movies operate in, as opposed to the real world?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
I mean, this, first of all, just really isn't my genre, so maybe I'm not the right person to talk to, but at the same time, it takes a lot of suspension of disbelief, maybe too much.
Yeah, I mean, because they're contrasting that with this story that's introduced right off the top about Riggs's beloved wife, who is killed in a car accident, and that is sort of what his main character trait, which is that he's basically suicidal, comes from. I mean, what did you think about that material? Like, the idea that there's a sort of emotional core to the story.
I mean, at least it had that grounding it. I don't know. There wasn't much here that I felt connected to, but if there was going to be something, it probably would have been that.
Yeah. It's like, on paper it's a good idea, and it certainly makes the characters make sense. It's just everything is so thin. Yep. Everything just feels very thin and flimsy, and the characters don't feel like they're real people in any way. So it's hard for me to take seriously their plights when they're sort of action cartoon characters. I think that was my ultimate problem, other than, like, the name and just the idea that it's trying to cash in on a movie that everyone's heard of. So, yeah. Not a whole lot else to say. This one did a 2.2 in the demo with 7.8 million viewers, which is a solid premiere. It's been a week of solid premieres so far. We'll see if that continues. Not a hit or anything, but 2.2 demo is pretty good. So do you think this one's going to be canceled quickly, make it through the season, or renewed for next season?
Based on the premiere, I would probably say that it's going to make it through the season.
Yeah, I think this one's going to lose viewers the way that these shows often do. This would probably be on the border of cancel quickly and make it through the season for me. I just don't. I think people are going to kind of fall off on this one. Okay, so Olivia, your final verdict. Thumbs up or thumbs down on Lethal Weapon?
It's going to be a thumbs down for me, not surprisingly.
Yeah, thumbs down for me as well. Just, I used to be so excited when shows like this came along, sort of action movie shows, but I've been sort of beaten over the head with them for so long now that they're kind of losing their luster, and it's also making me appreciate the casting and direction of real action movies. That, like, these sort of car chase sequences are so much more spectacular in a movie like Lethal Weapon, And the gunfights are so much more dramatic. And when you see it on TV, it's just kind of like the 99-cent store version. So, it's kind of I'm kind of losing my my excitement over this genre here.
You're getting too old for this stuff.
Perfect. So you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We'd appreciate that. Or find us at SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia, and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Till next time.